Hello everyone, welcome to another Game Talk. My name's Keith.
My name's Will.
And there's a truck passing by, but that doesn't matter because it's been a good year, the year of 2018. But Will, this is the first Game Talk that we've recorded in 2019. Mm-hmm. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Cool. Yeah, this is our second year doing it.
We're starting the year off, baby.
Year 2, formerly on operation.
When did we start? Game Talks. When was our God of War one?
Our God of War one was like the end of May, I want to say.
Okay.
Maybe the end of April.
We've been at it a while.
Yeah, because I remember our second one ever was like, it was right after we did God of War, we did the Pokemon Let's Go one, and that was announced at the end of May. So I want to say, yeah.
It's been a while, but the reason we're here, Will, what is the reason we're here?
Talking about goatees, baby.
Goatees.
Game of the year for the layman's.
Not facial hair and an arrangement around the lips and nowhere else. We're talking about goatees. Games of the year. The game of the year.
Mm-hmm. Keith, you always throw me off with those dumb jokes. I like them, though.
That's what they're for.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're here talking about 2018, obviously. Keith, I didn't know if 2017, I didn't know if it was possible for it to be topped last year. I don't know if it was topped, but I will say that 2018 put up much more of a fight than I was expecting.
2017 would have been the year of the Switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been the year of
and that's what I love. So whenever Nintendo's doing really well, it's an A+ year for me.
Yeah. So Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, some other good games.
Splatoon 2, of course, my personal favorite.
Of course.
Then this year came out, and it was all quiet on the Nintendo front for a long time.
For a while.
For a long time. We didn't hear about Smash getting announced till like March.
Yeah.
And then it didn't come out till December. Pokemon didn't come out till November. And then up until then, we just had a bunch of Wii U ports.
Sure.
We had Octopath Traveler. It's a Switch exclusive, but Nintendo didn't make it.
Right.
And then we had Mario Party and Mario Tennis Aces, neither of which I played, which always feels weird whenever there's like a big Nintendo game, especially with Mario in it, that comes out that I had no interest in. 2018 was a little weird on the Nintendo front. But I would say even for most, I mean, maybe there's stuff I'm leaving out, but even most of 2018 was kind of slow for the beginning of the year, other than God of War.
Yeah, God of War was early on, right? That was almost the beginning of the
April.
year.
Yeah.
So springtime.
Yeah.
God of War was a great start to the year, but yeah, I feel like the middle of the year was pretty quiet. And then we knew we were waiting on the Red Dead. We knew we were waiting on Spider-Man. We knew we were waiting on some other things. I hate those
Smash
trucks.
on the horizon.
Smash has been lurking.
So this was honestly kind of a year of the backlog for me. When I was thinking about a lot of games that I played, I was like, a lot of them didn't come out this year. So my list is a little weird.
I've played a lot of games this year too, and they didn't come out this year.
Not a lot of 2018 ones. Yeah.
Go ahead and come clean to the folks. I've only played, I would probably total it at 5 2018 releases this year, which will make my top 5 difficult. I'm going to hit you with a top 4. I'm going to order them. Then I'm going to give one honorable mention.
See, the order counts. The order counts. Even if the content's not surprising, the order matters. Yeah. So. And Keith, you played the ones that count.
Right.
Because I have a list of, full disclosure, I have a list of about 10. A lot of them are going to just be bullet points, like we're giving honorable mentions kind of thing. But your top 4 are on my top 5, so
good.
You did good. You played the right ones.
I appreciate that. I appreciate being validated by you and having my opinions valid. That's a good thing.
They're not valid unless I say so.
Right. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
You can ask my wife. There's a lot of decisions.
I get a lot of weird texts in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Well, can I put it here? Can I?
Well, let's back it up. That definitely doesn't happen. But we're talking about our games of the year. We're going to kind of just rattle off a few things. Talk about. I'm going to ask you some questions as you go through your list.
Okay.
Just let me know the format you want to do, and we'll do that. So
the thing is, I was thinking about us doing this like popcorn style, just going down our list. Yeah. That'll be difficult not only because our lists are different lengths, but it'll also be difficult just because out of process of elimination, by the time we've said our number 2, the folks at home can use deduction to figure out what our number 1 is.
Because they're smart.
So I was thinking they are smart. We don't give them enough credit.
If they're here.
Yeah. Hello?
They're smart.
No, but so shoot, what was I going to say, Keith?
We're not doing it popcorn style.
Yeah, we're not doing it popcorn style. But what I was thinking we might want to do is before we just go through our list, just to get all the, because there's a lot of tension right now.
Yeah.
People are wondering what is their game of the year. A lot of people are probably wondering, is it going to be one Tank Media game of the year?
Yeah.
Are they both picking their own?
That's true.
Basically, y'all are going to figure that out at the same time we are.
Yeah.
Because if we say we're going to count to 3, and if the game is the same, then it's our Tank Media Games game of the year. Otherwise, it's just going to be our own goatee picks. Keith, are you ready for this?
I am. So essentially the setup is we've each chosen what we believe to be our favorite game of the year. What we believe to be the best game of the year. from, of course, our lens. As individuals, we're about to state it aloud publicly to hopefully it matches, but maybe it won't. And it doesn't matter. We'll discuss it afterwards. But at the end of the day, maybe we'll have 2, maybe we'll have 1.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
So I guess, are we going on 3 or on? So 1, 2, 3, and then say
1, 2, say it.
1, 2, say it.
1,
Okay.
2, say it.
That's tough. Because
then the 3 is the goatee. Otherwise, I hate it whenever people say on 3 and then you say 1, 2, 3 this, because then it's on 4 really.
Right.
On 3.
On 3.
1, 2. Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay.
So we got 2 goaties.
We got 2 different goaties. Okay.
Interesting enough, I didn't know if God of War would make it into yours or not. I knew it wasn't going to be Spider-Man, but I thought it might have been God of War.
God of War might be number 2.
Okay.
It was a very, like you said, you were deciding between God of War and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was deciding up until a few days ago, Red Dead or God of War. For a few days, I'd be on Team God of War. Then I'd go on a binge, start watching YouTube videos about Dutch Vanderlyn, thinking about him. Yep. And it really comes down to the characters of Red Dead affecting me more.
I was about to say, tell me why Red Dead Redemption 2 is your game of the year. Which good choice, by the way.
Thank you. I always need you to validate my choices. There's a lot of things about Red Dead 2 that would make a lot of people say, oh, this is game of the year. This is unlike anything we've ever seen before. Just the level of detail and all that stuff that goes into it. And yeah, that boosts it for me. But that's not the main thing I loved about it. Honestly, what I loved about it, it comes down to very simple pleasures. I like riding a horse around. I like listening to Western music. I like shooting people in slow motion with guns. And I really like the story of the game. And I like the voice actors a lot. So, and the same way I kind of said, yeah, exactly. Same way I kind of said, when we were talking about Red Dead a few weeks ago, God of War is like a movie to me. Red Dead's like a TV show.
Yeah.
Just the fact that Red Dead was so much longer, I feel like it gave me more to think about and for longer. So I'm still thinking about Red Dead, still thinking about Dutch Vanderlyn, still thinking about if I think if there's any good in him at all.
Yeah.
If he's just a guy that was putting up a show to try and manipulate people, I still think about these things.
Sure.
Michael Bell, it's kind of, we know he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But still thinking about Dutch, still thinking about Arthur even, still thinking about John, because the way that the game ends, it kind of ends on a sweet note, but then you know what's going to happen in Red Dead 1, so it's not sweet. So it's just so many conflicting emotions. And also the thing that probably made it goaty for me, like the thing that pushes it over the edge, makes it impact me more than God of War, was just that entire final sequence where you're going up the snowy mountain.
Yeah.
Michael Bell!
Yeah.
And that music's playing and you're just popping people. I just love it. I haven't felt like that much of a badass in a video game in a while. A very long while.
It's good. It is absolutely good. It was definitely in the running. It's obviously in my top 4. Also, it should be known that these are not my top 4 on the table.
Oh, yeah. These are just displays. These will be mentioned. But
we will mention them all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. I loved all those things about Red Dead. The story didn't hit me really as much as I feel like, of course, that hit you and maybe others. I don't know if there was some about the way I played it. Maybe I didn't consume it, in big enough pieces.
It just means there's something wrong with you.
It must be. Yeah. There probably is something wrong with me. I'm not saying it was bad. It's just I didn't find myself like, there were definitely great moments that made me feel like, oh yeah, like the snowy mountain part when we're going to the Braithwaite mansion. All this, there's a lot of great moments, but I didn't find myself in like a mindset throughout of
That's kind of how I feel about God of War. Whenever I was debating in my head on which one I'll go back and forth between. But yeah,
I got you. But yes, absolutely, it is Game of the Year material. And the if we were just talking about a technical achievement, there's no question. It's far and beyond above everything else that came out this year. What that game did, it's foolish, I believe, to say otherwise. God of War, yes, you had a game in one cut. That's a big deal, but. Red Dead Redemption 2 had it certainly wasn't one cut, but very few loading screens unless you're fast travel. Very seamless. A whole world existing, and you're just a part of it.
Very minimal fast travel too. You're expected to travel this world.
Absolutely. And so as far as technical achievement is concerned, it is a Game of the Year. But when it comes down to just experience and everything else, cool.
Do not want to undersell, though, how amazing it was that God of War was done all in one take.
Yeah.
I still think about that before I'm going to bed at night. The game starts with him chopping the axe at the starting screen and then never cuts.
Yeah.
That's so good.
True.
That's so good.
That's absolutely true. I'm not trying to undersell that whatsoever. That is a magnificent achievement.
Oh, yeah.
It's just I would say it's a beautiful achievement that's just a little bit, as far as volume of achievement, might be smaller than just what Red Dead achieved in such a large world.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you why I think it's Spider-Man?
Yes. I was going to be disappointed if you didn't choose Spider-Man, by the way.
Yeah. Spider-Man is the only game I have ever felt compelled almost religiously to complete it 100%. There's never been another game, not even God of War, that whenever I finished the story, I was like, well, I ain't done with that.
Yeah.
Because I have to see everything. I have to do everything. I want to have the achievement. I want to have the worthless digital achievement of saying that I did everything that Insomniac offered me in this game.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I wanted to do that with God of War, because whenever the story ended, it felt like, this is it.
Put the book back up on the shelf.
Right. Yeah. Like, it was a magnificent book. I wept. I mean, it's a magnificent book. But, I didn't physically weep at God of War.
Okay.
Also, Spider-Man is the only game that I shed a tear at.
There you go.
This year.
Welcome aboard, Keith.
Yeah. But the Book of God of War is a wonderful novel. But I turned that last page and it said like, oh well, you want to go back and read some of that other cool fight scenes that you did throughout the book, and like, no, that story is wonderful and I enjoy it. And if I get bored, I'll come back and I'll do some of that stuff. But with Spider-Man, like, Spider-Man ended and I'm still Spider-Man.
I still want to swing around.
Yeah, I still want to swing. There's still parts of the city that are unsafe. There are always going to be thugs. Like, Spider-Man's story ends in Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's still Spider-Man. Like, Kratos and Atreus, like, there's more story to them, of course. Thor is showing up and everything like that. But, I mean, at the end of the game, it kind of, you go back and say, we're going to hang out here.
Yeah, and then you can do New Game Plus if you want.
Of course, you can do all that. But Spider-Man just kept me going. I wanted to live in that world. I wanted to be Spider-Man. Also with Kratos, a lot of times it's like you're watching the story of Kratos and you get to play an active part in it. But with Spider-Man, there are many points where you're like, I made the decision to zip here and swing here and stealth and all. Like, I feel like Spider-Man. Yeah. I feel like I was watching Kratos, and then I felt like I was living in Spider-Man a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
The story for me. I love a good father and son story, Will. We talk about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I love a good father and son story, but there's something about that story of Spider-Man that no matter what the sacrifice is, he's always making it, and he always has to, that he never really has a choice. That he can either, be Spider-Man and save people, or he can be Peter Parker and people die, and Peter Parker has to make these sacrifices. All in all, the story, it just hit me hard. Spider-Man is nostalgic for me, so that pushes it forward. And I had the most fun playing Spider-Man this year.
Awesome. Valid opinion.
It's got my spot.
So
Thank you
Keith.
very much.
So good. I gotta say, the answer might be obvious to this, since God of War or Spider-Man is your game of the year and God of War is not.
Yeah.
But out of God of War and Spider-Man, which one do you want a sequel for most right now?
God of War. I think the Spider-Man story, it was so good. And they hemmed up kind of Spider-Man, this big thing. There was no huge cliffhanger except for the Harry thing and the in that tank, but it wasn't like
Spider. And Miles, kind of. Huh? Miles, kind of, right?
And Miles, yeah, of course. But like with Spider-Man himself, Spider-Man's not right now thinking about the next threat.
Yeah, he's gone through a complete arc.
Yeah,
he's going to settle on it and think about it for a while.
Right. But with God of War, like, we immediately at the end, Thor shows up and he's like, I'm about to jack you up, and we've got there's the whole Loki thing. I mean, spoiler alert. There's the whole Loki thing. There's all this stuff going on. I want to know what happens next in God of War. I find it very hard to believe that next year, or Spider-Man 2020 or whenever the next one comes out, that one will be Game of the Year for me. I think that this one was just hit me at the
lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
Like this moment in gaming and stuff, and this return to form for Spider-Man, I guess. But yeah, I think right now I would prefer to have a sequel to God of War if I could get my hands on one right now.
Nice, I like it. So Keith, do you want me to go ahead and knock out my honorable mentions?
Yeah,
so honorable that we can mentions.
Go into. This is the honorable mentions section. I have one. Will has several.
Okay, and I'm bear with me, folks. I'm going to go through this really fast.
Sure.
Because I've actually talked about most of these games already. Number 10, we got Octopath Traveler.
Yep.
I said a lot of things about how I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, but I mean, let's be honest, I still loved it. It was still a 16-bit RPG with good music and great visual style and everything. Right. Number 9, got to give it to Black Ops 4. I haven't played it a ton in the past few weeks, but I played a Blackout. It was pretty fun. The multiplayer is really good. The zombies is classic.
Of course.
It's just one of those things where it feels like coming home, but also there are enough things different to make it exciting.
Sure.
So Black Ops 4 goes on the list for that. Number 8, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Skipped most of the cutscenes in this game, Keith.
Okay.
Because I do not like the story. I do not like the main character. I do not like the characters as a whole. But I like the gameplay a lot. So,
okay.
But every time that I tried to make myself watch a cutscene, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to finish this game. And once I started skipping cutscenes, I was like, I can finish this game.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take that I don't know if I've ever heard. Is like I skipped all the cutscenes, but it made it into the top 10 games of the year.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot, actually, Keith.
Yeah,
I used to skip cutscenes in a lot of games.
That must say it's a lot about the gameplay.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a mix between, I've said this about the because I mean this is the third in a trilogy. I said it about the first two games, but it's the perfect mixture of Uncharted and Zelda.
Yeah.
So love it. This is a weird one, Keith. Number 6, I've got. Is this number 6? This is number 7. Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion. This is technically DLC. You have to own Splatoon 2 to get it.
Yeah.
But it's a single player campaign that's over twice the length of the one that came with Splatoon 2. And it just adds, it's everything that I've always wanted the single player in Splatoon to be. So this was kind of that hit. You know how we said there wasn't a lot of Nintendo Magic throughout the year?
Yeah.
I neglected to mention that this was like a small, it wasn't even small. It took like 10 hours to beat. So it was basically a small game. But this was a nice little dose of Nintendo Magic in the middle of the year.
Octo Expansion.
Oh, yeah. And then, oh, wait, maybe my list is only, I've only got 9 actually. So now we're getting into the top 5 territory, Keith.
All right. I would like to mention I would like to make some mentions, one honorable, one not.
Okay.
But this is just an opinion I have about a 2018 game. Take it or leave it. I haven't played it yet, but I want to mention it again.
Are we going off on Fluffy Horde right now?
Huh?
No,
not Fluffy Horde. No, I didn't play Fluffy Horde. I'm not advertising for Fluffy Horde. No.
I hate this game.
So my honorable mention, Celeste. I played Celeste. It's a bit. I mean, it was in the running in the Game Awards. It was like top 5. It was nominated for Game of the Year. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I played it it's a lot of fun, great platformer. It's very difficult.
Very frustrating.
And very frustrating, but there you get a good sense of accomplishment. And I know that goes toward the story because it's a metaphor for, negativity and
struggling
depression.
with mental illness, right? Something like that.
Like mental health and struggling with, possibly depression, possibly, negativity and stuff. I feel like people kind of freak out over those kinds of stories nowadays being in games. I'm not trashing that kind of thing, but I don't think that the text and the writing that I read in that game, it didn't, it didn't seem, super genuine, but the story was good. The game was good, and I mean, it did make me think a little bit about the concept. But as someone who doesn't necessarily struggle that with like other people do, I'm not going to get it like other people.
I think one of the things that tickles people so much about games like Celeste is that it doesn't look like the kind of game that would elicit any kind of emotional response from you. So that when it does, it's like amplified.
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
I was not expecting this little game about a cute little ice climber chick to make me think about depression and stuff.
Yep, I think
that's
you're
where
right.
it comes from.
So,
yeah, I played some of Celeste, and I have not even played it far enough to realize that it's a metaphor about anything. I'm just climbing a mountain and being very frustrated.
Sure.
So I'm not getting very far in it. Don't know if I'll be that game.
It's a great game. It was well made, a lot of fun to play. And I might not be the exact right audience. I'm the audience for the gameplay, but I think it was good. So honorable mention.
Okay.
I want to mention Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Ooh. My final thing I'm going to mention about it is I don't get it. Okay. Everyone loves this game. It's so big. I understand. It's huge. This game's huge. I understand. I haven't played it yet. But I've watched, you know what? Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not what I think it is. But I watch YouTube videos, and that game is exactly what I think it is. And it just makes me sad, or it confuses me when people are like, this is the best Assassin's Creed game ever made. It's nothing like Assassin's Creed to me.
Yeah.
The fact that you can't stab if you sneak up behind someone, you can't stab them and they die.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Only if the stats line up, right?
Only, I assume.
Yeah,
and there's level capping according to some folks that no matter what, nothing can be more than 2 levels behind you. So it's possible that you never. I mean, some people I'm sure you kill in one hit, but there's possibly sometimes that you'll never get tough enough to kill a big guy in one hit, and that makes me.
That's very disappointing.
It's disappointing to me. I understand. I don't get it. Hit me in the comments, and maybe I'll play it one day. I don't know. But I wanted to mention that I'm leaving Assassin's Creed Odyssey in my ill will toward it in 2018.
Okay.
And I'm going to dishonorably mention it.
Oh, man, I need to think about a game to dishonorably mention. No. Positive vibes here. Positive vibes.
Yeah, sorry.
No, Keith, please. Crap on any game you want to.
I'm done. All good from here on out.
Okay. You want me to go into my number 5?
Yep.
My number 5 is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Talked about it all year. Loved it when I played it the first time. Gotta say, Keith, I've restarted it in the past few days. I don't know if I'm going to beat it again. Because it feels like a game that I've played a million times, which I kind of have. And the second time going through it, now I just kind of feel like I'm undermining the fact that it's on my GOTY. But I loved it in 2018. All these negative opinions haven't come about, so this is why it's not higher on the list. But some of the music, Keith, I don't like it. They kind of turned it into like a baby nursery rhyme version of classic Canto songs. Okay. Like I was in Cerulean City the other day, and I was like, "What is this music?" I can hear the melody, but it just sounds like elevator music mixed with like it's like they turned all the classic Pokemon songs into like elevator music / you're at Bilo looking for groceries music. But I still liked it for what it was, so that's why it is number 5. Number 4. Sorry, Keith, this is gonna hurt. Spider-Man.
That's okay.
There's 3 games that it's not nothing. Say nothing bad about Spider-Man.
That's top 5, dude.
Yeah, it's just saying something about how great the games are ahead of it. So we've talked about Spider-Man. Of course. What did you want to say? Your number 4? Are we popcorning it?
Oh, sure, we can. My number 4 is Smash. My number 4 best game of the year is Smash Brothers. It is wonderful. I spent a ton of time on it. I probably, at this point, maybe spent more time in it than I've spent in God of War. But, I mean, it doesn't affect me. It's just a good time. Mm-hmm. The World of Light stuff it's not the most fun I've ever had. It's not an affecting story, but it's a great reason to play Smash Brothers. Mm-hmm. It's a motivator to go play. And then it's really tanked because of the way the online stuff works. There's not a whole lot of options. Yeah. Like if I'm sitting here with you on one console, we have 40 different options of how we can play together. Yeah. Online, I can punch you. Yeah. And you can punch me, and that's pretty much it.
Squad Strike online. You can't do the Squad Strike online.
So it's missing some stuff online that knocks it down to number 4, but it's still the 4th best game of the year for me.
Gotcha. Similar reasoning for me. Mine's number 3. The reason it's not number 1 is for similar reasons as you said. Yeah. It's for the online, and it's also for the. I mean, granted, I didn't knock Smash 4 for not having single player at all because it didn't really have any at all, and this one does. So I feel like I can't really knock it for World of Light. Sure. But I just feel like when I hear all these people, heaping praise on World of Light, and even before we knew what World of Light was, they're like, man, it better have an adventure mode. And adventure modes are like the last thing I play Smash Bros. For. Sure. So World of Light doesn't really factor into it for me. But the only reason it's not number 1 or number 2 is because of the online, like you said. But everything else about it, love the game. Love that everyone's back. Love that I can play as Ice Climbers again or Young Link. Because I never played a lot of Melee. So the fact that I can play as like Young Link and people that got cut from Melee is really cool.
My number 3? Mm-hmm. My number 3, I'm giving it to Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay. Obviously, because I had to choose between God of War and Spider-Man for number 2. This year, for me, would be the year of the affecting story. The year of the year that, game stories become something that truly hit home and something that, makes you, like you said, like think about it before bed or whatever, like to think about the themes and to think. We've discussed so many times about how the universe is set up and how fathers and sons and that kind of dynamic seems to be ingrained in all of us in some way. Like those kind of discussions don't typically happen from video games, or they haven't before. Yeah. And so I had to give Red Dead Redemption 2 number 3 just because of all the stories. It just wasn't my favorite one. Yeah. I loved it. I love that game so very much. Like you said, I love riding a horse and I love shooting cowboys. I love all that so very much. Like I love lever action rifles more than anything. But
however you do
just at the end of the day, if you were to tell me I had to throw a game away out of these 3, I'd throw away Red Dead Redemption 2 just because the other 2 were just such affecting achievements for me.
Gotcha.
Number 2.
Number 2 for me. This is weird, Keith, because these notes are from whenever I was still thinking I was going to give it to God of War. Mm-hmm. So right here it says number 2 is Red Dead 2, but number 2 is actually God of War. Right. So, and we've talked for an hour about God of War. Yeah. Don't know if there's much else I can say other than that. Still feel all the same ways about it. Mm-hmm. Have not had a Pokemon thing where I've like woken up and been like, what did I love so much? Yeah. Well, I still know why I love Pokemon, but I digress. God of War is number 2.
The more we talk about God of War, the more I need to go get it from my coworker and play it again. Yeah. Because he keeps talking about like, I'm not really getting it, or I'm not really enjoying it like that. And it just, but there are some conversations I have with Brian at work where we're like, we don't really like the same thing. So it's like, if that's good to you, I don't really care for it, blah, blah, blah. But like, he said something about God of War the other day. And I don't know if he watches these or not. I don't think so. But he was sitting there, and I'm sure he'll remember as well. He said something, and I was like, Brian, that's just wrong. That opinion that you have is incorrect. And we had to, argue about what was going on with the God of War, but it's like he said something about the story or something like that's wrong. No, it's wrong. Good. Whatever you're saying is not good is good.
He just hasn't beaten it yet, man. Yeah, he hasn't got far enough.
He'll make it.
So there's really nothing else for me to say after God of War. Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2, number one
Game of the year for me.
Spider-Man. No secret that we have the PS4 boxes up here. The console of the year, I feel like would have to be the PlayStation 4.
Yeah. I mean, I played Red Dead on my Xbox, but you could have played it on a PlayStation. Yeah, and then you also could have had God of War and Spider-Man. So
you could have.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything else about God of War? Or
I'm finished.
Okay.
I'm finished. God of War is my number 2. Obviously, Spider-Man is number 1.
All right. Our first ever Goaties in the bag.
Next year, hopefully we'll have. I'll have played more games. We can actually, sit and deliberate. Mm-hmm. We talk about the Easy Allies a lot. They're a big inspiration for us doing what we do here on our little small scale. But I watched their whole 7.5 hour deliberation on the games.
You're like, we got to step it up.
Yeah, over the last 3 days. I don't have that much to say. I haven't played enough games to have that much. But we might could do an hour if we were really trying to nail down what's the best game of the year. Also, between the two of us, we couldn't really vote.
Yeah,
but maybe next year it'll be bigger, better. But that's up to you as a watcher, as a viewer. So we hope that you'll tune in. We hope you enjoyed this video. We hope you'll go and check out some other stuff on the channel. A whole nother year of Dungeon Boys is coming up. A whole nother year of gameplay videos coming out. Every weekday is coming up, and a whole nother year of semi-regular game talks.
I just want to say, it is January, folks. That means Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil 2 come out this month.
Woo!
So take your pick and get lost in a world.
Take your pick and get going. I think I'm gonna do Kingdom Hearts. I think I got to play both.
I'm playing both, but I'm playing Kingdom Hearts first.
I like to keep the channel pretty, down on profanity as much as I can. I like to keep it, I like to keep it clean.
So we can't play Kingdom Hearts on the channel.
I like to keep it wholesome, but I'm thinking about changing that for Resident Evil 2 because I've never played survival horror.
Yes, that'd be fun to watch.
We'll see.
Oh yeah. You
play
in the dark too? Play in the dark with your headphones?
By myself.
Oh yeah. Watch you scream
at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. If you want us to do more, if you like what you see, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to visit patreon.com/tankmedianetwork, you'll be able to check out, some of our rewards if you want to give us anything as little as $1 a month to keep, making this thing easier. Will and I have had a great 2018. Looking forward to a great 2019. And remember, we love you very much. Come on, Call of Duty. I know you don't feel like you need to be up here on this table, but I'm gonna be honest. You're not in the top 5. You're not one of the top 5 games of the year. But Will seems to think that you're onto something. Thinks that you're a real return to form. Now I know you've been memed into this game that never changes, never evolves, and it doesn't get any better. But you have changed, and you have gotten better, and you have evolved.
I'm sorry I'm late. I'm not going to give any excuses this time. I know I'm terrible, but... Keith, is that music playing? Are you doing a bonus bit without me?
Will, I know you're hurt right now, but it was just for scheduling.
Keith, I am a little hurt, but... mostly I'm just mad because you're not even doing it right, man. What is this? This is GOTY 2018. You got Call of Duty 4 main theme playing. This is not Game of the Year 2007, man. This is okay, now I'm just mad. Fred, change the music to something ominous, something Super Nintendo-y. Fred, that's what I'm talking about, Fred. You were getting a raise. You're getting a raise.
Fred, Will doesn't actually have the power to give you a raise or do that. So why don't you go ahead and throw it back to the Call of Duty theme for me? Well, we're running late, so just come on. Let's film this game. We'll talk about it later. It's not as big a deal as you think. Come on, Will. Just have a seat. It's not as big a deal as you think it is. Let's just record a game talk, all right? You ready?
Yeah.
Stop being such a baby, please.
I'm not being a baby.